Oops. 1, 2, 3, and...
Oh, fuck. You do it.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome back to Riqueza podcast. I'm your host, Leah Verde, and we're in a completely different setting. We are actually setting up the loft to, have more recording spaces and, to boost that creativity. So this wall color is going to be gonna be gone, and Zanie hates me for it, but it is what it is. But as you can tell, I have Zanie here with me to be the guest on our episode. Because this episode is going to be in honor of Pride Month. So a happy Pride to my gays, my baby gays, my elder gays, and my trans folk, and everybody who is part of the LGBTQ plus community. This is an episode that I want to share because I think it's important that we have conversations about money within our relationships. And especially in your 20s, I feel like you're not having those conversations at all with anyone. If anything, you're just dating to try to find out like who's the person for you or what kind of person you're looking for in your life. But for me, since I am a financial coach, I've been doing this for over 2 years. Dating and talking about finances has been important for me because I ain't gonna be spending my money just for cualquiera. And so, that being said, we have Zanie, my partner.
Hi.
My partner in crime. She is also the executive producer of Riqueza podcast. So she literally listens to my voice all day long.
It's not bad.
I don't know how you do it.
I listen to you all day, every day anyways.
So, welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going.
You're so far.
I know. It is what it is.
It's okay.
I'm right here.
Thanks.
Well, on today's episode, we're going to be covering and talking about our relationship and how we navigate our finances, questions to ask your partner in your finances. So before we get started, Miss Zanie, who are you and what do you do? And ¿quién eres?
Hello, everyone. My name is Zanie, if you didn't know who I was. I'm this lovely woman's partner, and I'm also a bartender. I am the producer, editor of this podcast. I also help Leah all the time on the side, little things here and there. And I also just opened my own business doing mobile bartending, event bartending, stuff like that.
Yeah, she did. She is my partner. She kind of has to. Nah, just kidding. So let's talk about how we met. Yeah, you want to start there?
Yeah, let's do it.
So how did we meet?
Hinge.
Yes. Hinge.
I was almost too late.
Yeah.
Almost too late.
So you guys know the story, right? That I moved to Dallas. I moved to Dallas in March of 2022. I was very much single, had been in a few relationships, but they just never lasted more than 6 months. And if anything, it was just nothing felt aligned for me. These people weren't what I was looking for. I know that, at least in my dating experience, very educated, right? So I wanted someone who was somewhat on my level, but at the same time, I didn't because I felt like I was so boring. Like I felt like, damn, I'm too serious in life. I'm in my 20s, acting like I'm in my 30s, and I used to want to bring me joy and happiness in my life because sometimes I do feel like I have a stick out my ass, because estoy tan seria. I feel like I take things very seriously. And so it was really hard for me to find a relationship at the level that I wanted, and I found lovely people to meet and date, but it wasn't it, right? So I was like, I need to leave Utah because Nevada ain't it, Utah ain't it, and I don't want to do long distance across the country. So I moved to Dallas, right? And it wasn't just for finding a relationship. It wasn't at all. It was also taking up more space. And so when I first moved to Dallas, I didn't leave my house for like 4 weeks because I was really scared of what was out there. I was like, I'm in a city that I don't know, and I'm from Utah. And if you know Utah is a very beautiful place and very easy to navigate. A city is really difficult for me because now we have more freeways, we have more stores, more things, more people, more diversity that I wasn't I wasn't raised in. And so now that I'm here, I'm, being uncomfortable, and I loved it at the same time because I wanted to face these things, right? When you're sheltered and you grow up in one state, and I mean, I've traveled the world, don't get me wrong, I've traveled the world, but coming here was that opportunity to just evolve, right? So one of the things that I wanted to work on was finding a relationship or just finding friends. And the best way to do that, because if you know the queer community, if we don't date, we end up being friends. So I was on Hinge, and I set up my profile, and I don't think I set up my profile to find a relationship.
No, not at all.
It was if you guys know me in real life, I'm very different sometimes. I'm not very different, but I feel like I'm a little more less serious in person for sure. Mm-hmm. So what did my Hinge profile say? I want you to say it.
It said, I like me a girl with a fat ass and some nice titties.
Yeah.
Literally.
I know this isn't about money, but yeah.
That's literally what it said. So me being me, I said, oh, we gonna fuck.
And we matched. You were the first person I matched with, but I didn't talk to her right away. In that part of my life, I was very single. I was not leaving the house. I happened to go to Miami to go to the Bad Bunny concert, and I was really excited, and I had met a friend, and she did a reading for me, and she was like, girl, you're gonna be successful, blah blah blah, your person's gonna come in your life. And I was like, all right, well, if they're gonna come, I'm not gonna worry about it, I'm just gonna relax, I'm gonna chill. Came back to Dallas, and in April, around then, I got a message. Actually, I think I was on my way back. I had been delayed, I was in the airport, and you messaged me back. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this girl took a whole 30 days to message me back. I was already 2 girls in, like, message-wise. Well, I had never met them.
I like to say that I was hoeing around, but, like, I kind of wasn't, because I knew that I wanted to find my partner. My parents have a beautiful love story, and they're still together. And, and I wanted that. And so I kind of was going from relationship to relationship, but it wasn't relationship. It was more like just girls that like I would meet, and if anything was like off or like a red flag, I would just like, and then we met.
Yeah, and when we met, it just felt like home. That's all I can like describe it as, because I moved to Dallas. I was financially stable, and I I literally was just like finding my independence again, right? And so when I met you, I was just like, wow, was all I'm missing in my life like love? And
yes,
and it is true for many reasons, but being with you was hard, I think, in the very beginning, because I only know how to be independent. I've only known how to take care of myself because, like, at the age of 19, I moved out, already had my life ahead of me. And I think I just was never really good at caring for other people other than myself, just because I've been single. And like I said, my relationships weren't long enough to even have like even deep, crazy conversations like that. So when we first met, you didn't know I was a creator.
No,
I didn't know what I did.
No, I think it was the day before we met. You told me about your TikTok. You were like, oh, follow me on TikTok or something. And that's when I looked it up and I saw, and at the time, I think you had like 50,000 subscribers or something. And I still was like.
How did you feel that I was doing finance content?
I literally almost shit my pants when I saw that. Because I was horrible with money. I was really bad with money. I thought to myself for a split second, I was like, this girl is going to leave me. It's so funny that you're a money coach, because I'm really bad with money.
I didn't know that Zanie was bad with money at all. I didn't know any of that in the beginning. I think it was just an internal fear of yours.
That
I find out?
No, I just didn't know how to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were very patient with me. I think from the very, very beginning, you made me feel safe enough to where I could take my time and like think about everything.
Yeah.
I
remember because when we first met, I like knew she was going to be my partner for life. Like when you know that saying is very true. And I didn't grow up with the healthiest parent dynamic of how to navigate these tough conversations. Like I said, I feel like I've parented myself my whole life, but I knew that in order to be in a relationship, like in a serious relationship, I wanted to have a conversation about money because it's really important. I think too many people get into relationships and years go by and they still haven't had that money discussion, or months go by and they're trying to get a house together and it's not working out or whatever. I mean, these are just conversations that are essential to have. And I literally had an individual tell me that they just barely had a money conversation with their partner and it's been 6 years. And for me, when I met Zanie, I was like, okay, if she's going to be the partner for me, if she's going to be a part of my life, then we're going to have to have this money conversation. But I don't have to force it right away. And so I think in the very beginning, I remember telling you, well, you don't have to have a conversation about money now, but I would like to have this conversation soon. But when you're ready.
It took me 3 months.
Yeah. Which I'm actually really happy about. I think it was a perfect amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, but I do know I was shitting my pants for those 3 months.
Yeah.
I feel like I was going through a lot too, obviously, you know. And I also didn't know I had ADHD. So it would just like...
So how were you navigating your finances prior to me?
I wasn't. I had a really good job back then. I would blow through it. For some reason, like, I was very good at like, okay, my paycheck is like X amount of money. I get paid in 1 week again, and I would somehow manage to spend every last dollar up until like the very next paycheck. And whether it would be on like bills or alcohol or like whatever, it could be the dumbest shit ever. I would find a way to spend it. For some reason in my head, if it was in my account, it's spendable. And I feel like it's taken me a lot of self-reflection to really figure out what went on back then. Also, my ADHD took a big toll on that. Like, I don't want to say that I was never taught how to manage money because I feel like my parents tried. They would even tell me like, hey, Zanie, like give us $100 a week and we'll save it for you. Ni eso, bro. Ni eso. I was horrible. Yeah, I was not very good with money.
And I didn't know that right away. And that's okay. And I don't judge you for that. I don't judge you for your past experiences because at the end of the day, it is what it is. And we forgive ourselves for our past. I do remember, though, when you were telling me all the stories about your financial mistakes in the past, bruh, I was like, girl, really? And it was more shocking to me because I've never felt like that. I guess because I've known like how to navigate my finances. I've been somewhat responsible for that, for like anything that's happened in my finances. But I know you've gone through a lot in your past life because you were also in the Navy. Right?
Yeah, that's a whole other thing because being in the military, you don't, well, in my position, I didn't have to worry about bills or, you know, anything like that. My only real bill was my phone bill and my parents paid for it. I was deployed and everything. And like, when you're in there, you have a place to live, you have food, you have everything you need. You're just getting this paycheck deposited into your account on the 1st and the 15th. Me being me, when I got out of boot camp, I had like, I'll never forget this. I had the most amount of money I ever had in my entire life. I went to boot camp when I was 18, freshly 18, fresh out of high school. I had like, I want to say it was like $1,300 in my bank account from boot camp, from like the time that I was in there. Yeah. Girl, I got out of boot camp, went and like checked into like my school or whatever for firefighting. I want to say the very next day, I went and bought a TV and an Xbox for my barracks room. I spent like God knows how much money, half of that, on a fucking TV and an Xbox for my barracks room. Why? Because I could. I don't know. Yeah. What else was I going to do with the money? Like, in my head, it wasn't any, like, I didn't think like, oh, let me save this money for whatever, you know?
I don't think any 18-year-old is thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I think you have to realize, and I also realize, and that's why I do what I do, is that younger individuals are in this fucking mentality of like, I'm gonna live my best life, no me cuesta nada ir a hacer X, Y, and Z. Tengo el dinero, lo gasto y ya. Y si no lo tengo, gano otra vez. Like, I'm gonna go work again or whatever.
Money comes and goes. I would always tell myself that.
Yeah.
Money will come.
Those are money scripts, y'all. Those are money scripts that we tell ourselves. They usually come from our upbringing, or they come from just experiences in our life. Because I don't think for me, before you, I was pretty financially stable. I had, a little bit of credit card debt. I had just become debt free, but like I had some credit card debt because I had just moved. I used all my savings to move here because it literally cost me like $5,000 to move all my shit.
Moving is expensive.
From Utah to Texas. And so like my emergency fund gone. So I had, I was making enough money to pay rent and my expenses. And then you came into the picture, and I didn't really expect to be like this. Like the way that I showed love was through, I think, taking you out. We went to movies and we would literally do everything. But like we were always going out to eat.
We were.
Like dating is fucking expensive.
Always paid for everything.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that got really expensive, real quick. And I started panicking, I think, in my head. You had just moved in. So she moved in pretty fast. And if you're a queer individual, you know how fast that is.
We're not going to say how fast.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to be... No. No, that's for me. That's for us and our friends. But after she moved in, it was like, okay, well, I'm the sole provider because you had to quit your job in order to move to Dallas because you lived in Fort Worth.
Yeah, but I also worked closer to like Denton.
Yeah.
It's far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she moved in. I took in majority of the expenses. You weren't receiving any income. So there was no income coming in from your end. And so I know we had to have the money conversation eventually because I didn't want to be a sole provider forever. And I think I struggled in the sense that I wanted to be a sole provider to prove to myself that I can be the man of the house. You know that quote from Cher? Like, I'm the rich man. Yeah, I wanted to be the rich man. I wanted... Because my parents growing up, at least my dad, I remember one time he was like, Leah, tienes que encontrarte a alguien que te mantenga porque sos gustosa. Te gustan las cosas bien caras, And I was like, so? I can pay for it myself. I've never been a mantenida, nor do I believe in mantenidas. I don't care. Every individual should be financially independent on their own way, shape, or form. And I understand there's things in life that happen that restrict you from making income and you support yourself, or you, if you have a partner, you support each other. But I do not believe that there should only be one sole provider or like be in a relationship to find money. I don't believe in that at all. So I never counted on Zanie to provide for me because I didn't need that because I could take care of myself. And I gave myself this challenge that, okay, well, I'm going to be the rich man. I'm going to figure it out. And I feel like not only was it stressful,
I think you and your business weren't there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there for myself. I think I could support myself, but I don't think I could support two people. And now I was also adjusting to the rise of inflation and the impact of groceries and cost of goods and going out and everything like that. And it just all added up. And I literally just felt overwhelmed. And I think a lot of last year I was sitting in scarcity mindset for sure, moving. I was excited, but at the same time I had moments of scarcity because I was like, okay, well, solo yo, no tengo a nadie más. And the reason why you weren't working is not only were you new to Dallas, but we were figuring out your symptoms and what was going on. Because in July of last year, we realized that you had ADHD. And because I was getting upset about it, and I was like, what's going on? ¿Por qué no piensas?
And so my entire life, my parents were like, yo, what the fuck? What is wrong with you? Why can't you do this, and this all in one day? And I'm like, what do you mean? You want me to do this all in one day? And so navigating through that was crazy.
Yeah, because I knew something was wrong. I knew something was off from the very minute that I noticed that she couldn't write an essay for homework. I was like, how were you doing it beforehand? Like, I think, yeah,
It was hard.
It was hard for you. And so I was like, why can't you write an essay? Why can't you clean the house? Like, why can't you, like, it was just random things, like, you know, la ropa a la par de la cama. I'm like, pick it up, come on. Like, and you could see, like, my side was empty and her side wasn't. And I'm also a Virgo moon, so for me, I'm very I'm very organized, or at least I try to be. And it was just conflicting, and I was like, what is off? Like, something's off. And the person that really shed light to what was going on was when I went to LA for a Spotify event, because, you know, Riqueza podcast was inside of a like accelerator program for Spotify called Sound Up, and it's for podcasters. And so I had an event to go to, and I brought Zanie with me, and everyone loved her, and everyone was like, because I thought she had bad luck or something. Pensé que tenía mal ojo. Like, I was like, she has mal
I really did
ojo.
too.
Like, she just has bad luck. She's always forgetting shit. She's always hurting herself. I don't know what it is. Then my bestie, I will always thank her for this, Miriam, la gorda feminista, was like, Leah, creo que tiene ADHD. And I was like,
I said, nah.
It's like, I need to get her tested. We need to find out, like, what's the problem.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say, like, ADHD was a problem. I just didn't understand your...
No, it was a problem.
Oh, my babies. No.
It wasn't. No, it really is, because now on medication, life is totally different. Like, it absolutely was a big problem, if not the problem. Like, I will always say, like, if I had ADHD medication at the age of 5, I would probably be the president of the United States right now.
Yeah. Oh, my babies. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's life.
Well, since we found out, I didn't want to have that money conversation yet either, because I didn't want to put that stress on you either. Because I thought, for me, it was like, I didn't want to burden you with my problems or, like, the responsibilities of our money.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I wanted to be with you. I knew that, you know, we're going to be long term, and we were, like, deciding what we wanted to do about marriage and everything like that. And so, that being said, I was like, I'm not going to bring this up anymore. I'm just going to continue to hold the burden of the money. And that's fine, because I know how to manage it. But then it was just getting too overwhelming, I think, for me.
Yeah.
And I think randomly...
You don't like to ask for help either.
Yeah.
You played it off so well. Like, I never, thought that anything was wrong, or, like, not wrong, but, like, that you needed help or anything like that.
Yeah.
I was just living my life.
Oh, I know. And it's okay. I wanted you to.
Yeah.
I did.
You used to say all the time, like,
Yeah.
I want to be the sole provider. I'm the sole provider. Like, I'm the man, like, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
like,
an
okay,
ego
cool.
thing, I think, for sure. It was for me, like, to push myself to be like, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I can. It was just overwhelming to hold that burden by myself.
Yeah.
And if you're in a relationship and you have those burdens, the only way that I had to release them was to talk to you about it.
Yeah. And it wasn't until we had that money conversation 3 months later that you also let me know of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So you actually came to me and you're like, I think I'm ready to have, like, have a money date and, like, run our numbers.
I probably drank too much coffee that day and just felt confident or something.
I don't know. And I was like, really? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, nah. Like, nah, no te creo.
I said, yeah, hurry up before I change my mind.
Yeah. Okay, I started prepping our budget. I started showing you my credit cards and the statement on them and the balances, and I started showing you everything. And I remember I just sat there, started running numbers, and started showing you the details about our money. And you were like, oh, shit. And I was like, yeah, like, my monthly expenses are a lot, because not only am I running our household, but I'm running a business on the side, and a lot of that income that I earn from my business is for my life, but I still have business expenses to take care of. And I think after we had a money day, our first money date, and if you don't know what a money date is, it's just a time to sit down and run numbers, either with yourself or your partner, and you go over your balances on your bank accounts,
Your
you go over your
budgets.
credit cards, your budgets, your goals for the month, planning events and expenses and stuff like that.
Yeah, but make it fun.
Yeah,
make it cute.
Yeah, so I think we got like wine. Like I made sure that we made it like a date because
I told you we were kind of tipsy.
oh maybe no, but you told me when you were sober that you wanted to run numbers.
Yeah.
Because we didn't run numbers the same day. We were still like a few days after. And that was the first time we had a money date. And that was the first time I shared with someone else my finances. There's no one else in my life that I've shared my finances with but you. No one else. So no other girl has ever gotten that attention or that authority.
Wow.
You were like in the first person I felt comfortable in sharing that information with because
Oh, thanks, babe.
it's a very vulnerable moment, you know, like I don't want to share it with nobody. And like, it is vulnerable with people, like to share your money. And I know a lot of people don't have these conversations. Point why we're doing this is because when you're in your 20s, you're dating, right? And I feel like you have to, if you're going to be seriously dating someone, one of the first conversations is like, what are you going to do with your money? Like, how are you navigating your finances? Because I feel like we dated for love. Yes. 100%. I'm a strong believer that love is one of the key things to hold me together, but I need a partner who's going to support me, not financially, but like
have the same goals.
Like have the same goals and drive and motivation to continue to succeed and push for more in life. I do not want someone who is, you know, educated but doesn't have a drive. Like that doesn't matter to me. Your education doesn't matter to me because I also knew you didn't have a degree or anything. And it was okay. And I know your parents are pushing you for school. And I was like, you know what, whatever feels best. Because I'm also a strong believer in entrepreneurship. I think, you know, in the Latinx community, it's super important that we own stuff of our own. And, you know, our parents always want that for us. So for me, it was like, you know what, if you want to do entrepreneurship, that's totally fine. You don't have to get a degree.
It was fine with me.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was like, if I can make it with no degree, my mom can't tell me shit.
Yeah.
Not shit.
Her mom's a Gemini and like a very like Gemini. Like
Latina woman.
Yeah.
Mom.
And she
Tienes que
always,
estudiar, mija.
yeah, and like her parents give me warning signs like you don't want to date her, you don't want to be with her, you don't want to. No, she's gonna
Mommy, Papi literally sat her down and they were like, no returns, no refunds, no exchanges, sold as is.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't scared of that. I was like, okay, show me what's wrong with her. And like from being a coach, like my end, like I know there's traumas, I know there's experiences that we don't understand, and other things can be taught. I know that we can reframe our mindset. Like I know that. So I was like, okay, well, I guess she's the perfect example of a client, I guess, that I can help and navigate on her way.
A real life client.
A real life client, I guess, you know. And after that, I think I started giving you access to like one credit card.
Yeah.
And then 2 credit cards. Then you're at 2 right now. And I'm still working on it. Like I'm not giving her access to all the things, but you're very much more aware of like where our expenses are, where our money is going and everything.
Totally different now.
Because now she works, right? I think starting like September of last year, you started working again. Once she got her diagnosis, because I think it was right after your diagnosis that you started working.
Yeah.
And we had some bad work experiences with restaurants and stuff like that because I think the bartending field is just very...
Yeah, it's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were just trying to make some extra income to cover our expenses because we were also fed up with our apartment. We knew we wanted to move. And in order to prepare for the move, we wanted to make sure we had the money to move.
We had enough income together.
Yes, exactly. And so... See why it's important to talk about your goals, because I also asked Zanie, like one of the first conversations, like one of the first conversations that we had when we were dating was like, what are your goals in life? What do you want in life? And what do I want in life, you know? And I obviously told him my crazy ass dreams. I'm like, I want to do this. I have a podcast. I am a creator. I want to be a massive creator. I want to do this. I want to create my next business and my own these ventures. Like I have so many ideas, so you either support me or you stay behind. Like you either keep up or you're not gonna stay for long.
And I told you, I mean, I'm not so sure yet, but I'll help you get to wherever you're at.
Yeah, she was like intimidated, I think.
I don't want to say I was intimidated. I just knew that I wasn't at your level yet. Yeah. Because I needed to figure my shit out, you know, like mentally in order to get there. But I wanted to support you in any way that I could, in the meantime.
Yeah.
You know, and you were very patient with me and like giving me space to navigate that and figuring it out on my own. And
feel comfortable in
Yeah.
having that conversation, because we cannot force a money conversation. I don't like forcing it. I don't think you should have it in the first date either. Like,
Yeah.
I think it needs, especially when you're dating someone, you need to get to know them, warm up. Like, I'm not gonna show you my bank statement day one. Like, I'm not gonna go on a date because I know you're rich. Like, no, honestly, like I am a different in that sense that I want love. Like, I genuinely want love, because money, I feel like I can provide for myself, and I wanted to continuously provide for myself, but also for my partner. And I wanted to be able to support you in your moments of struggle too, because I feel like you were struggling emotionally. You were struggling with a lot of parts in your life, and I was struggling with a lot of parts of my life too, emotionally, from like leaving my parents and like the guilt and the shame of my identity, todo eso. Like, I was navigating a lot last year, and I mentioned it in the first episode. But now that we were like, okay, we had these conversations, we started making it consistent, you were bringing them up more, and actually I got more surprised every time that she would mention money, and like she'd be like, okay, so I'm getting paid this, can I pay off the credit card or something like that? It's like, wait, what? Like, you want to do that?
Well, it's different when you're motivated for something, you know?
I remember when you got your first high yield savings account.
Yeah, I opened that on my
You
own.
were so fucking proud. You did it without me.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you. I just kind of did it.
I was so proud of you.
I didn't even have money to put in it, but I opened it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my baby. I was so proud of you.
I was like, babe, look.
Yeah. And then we got a joint bank account.
Yeah, that we don't even use.
Yeah, to be honest, no, we should be better
We
about
should,
that.
yeah, with that
Yeah, because like I do have some questions that I want to ask you to make sure, like, you know, I don't know, that we discuss.
Sure. Go for it.
Let me see. Because I think there's ways that we can be better with our finances too. Like, I'm not saying we're perfect, and I want you to take this like with a grain of salt, because every couple is different, and I think everyone navigates their finances different. But I do think it is important to have this conversation as soon as possible when you feel like this is going to be the relationship for you for the next year or so. Because if you plan on moving in
next year,
like whatever, I don't know. I want to say like a year.
Know.
You never know. After a year, like, what if you break up? I don't know. But like, if you're dating and you guys plan on moving in and sharing expenses, that's a conversation to have. And I don't believe we're 50-50.
No, and I think that's always changing. I think we're very fluid.
In the scale.
I think
we change. Like, sometimes it's 90-10. Some days some months it's like
60-40.
60-40.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 50-50 depending on the energy we're bringing in from work and income. Because I'm an entrepreneur. I also struggle making income, because the only way I get paid is either through brand deals, workshops, clients, and that's it. If I don't have enough clients, then I'm not bringing enough income, because brand deals take 30 days to 60 days to get paid. And so
so then I pick up more shifts to kind of make that up.
We balance it out, because there's some months that I'm heavy on the income, she's lower on the income, and so like we navigate it and we try to balance it as best as possible. I do not believe in like that 50-50 like income, but I do believe in that 50-50 energy.
Yeah,
like, we have to share that energy. But I also feel like you support me in days where I'm low. Like, if I'm feeling sad, and I think emotionally goes the same way. Like, we're fluid on this scale, but like we still try to bring that 50-50 with our finances and our goals. Because I was very driven from the very beginning. I was like, Zanie, I want this, and this. So you either hop on the boat or I leave you, you know?
Yeah.
And
you told me you either keep up or you gone.
Yeah. That's true. I know my value. I knew my worth.
I said, hold on, let me put my Crocs in sport mode.
Ay. Pero, I'm going to ask you one, and this is more about me that I want your feedback on, okay? Because I have my own spending habits, and Zanie has her own spending habits. And I feel like I've also learned a lot from Zanie by like dating her and also being in a partnership. I think being in a partnership really pushes you to work on your dependency on somebody else. And if you're a hyper independent individual like me, and that's my toxic trait, it's hard. But I think it really helps in being able to trust somebody. And one of the things, like, if I remember, one of the things that he first taught me, I remember when I was at the store at Target and I wanted to buy this moisturizer. I did not need this motherfucking moisturizer, right? It's a TikTok video, because literally it was a live example of what happened. Like, she was like, okay, babe, do you either want this moisturizer or do you want
The $17.
Yeah. And I was like, what's more important for you right now? And I was like, all right, you're right, the cash. I'd rather have the cash.
Yeah.
Because the question that I'm going to ask you, what's a spending habit I have that I should work on? Because I know I have things to work on, because I know I'm not perfect either. I have my own spending habits. I used to be in $40,000 of credit card debt back in the day. And I got myself out of that mess. And it was the reason why I got there was because of my spending habits. So I would want to know, what's a spending habit that you think I need to work on a little bit more?
I think you need to stick to your budget more. It's just kind of all over the place a lot of times, you know, and I get that life happens a lot. And I need to work on it too, you know, but I feel like we need to collectively organize that better, because we could say like, oh, we're setting aside this amount of money for groceries, but then we don't end up, we either take it out of somewhere else or we like, I don't know, like it's just
I think
everywhere.
I
You get
think
what I'm
right
saying?
now our finances are a little messier than usual, because also we're like in this new house, and we're also trying to figure out the new rhythm to life. And I think that's totally okay. Like what she's giving me, I love your feedback, and I think that's perfectly normal to be in this transition phase. I think one thing that we really need to work on is our joint bank accounts, like leveraging our joint bank accounts for our actual joint expenses, and then having your bank account for your expenses, my bank account for my expenses. I actually have to move over my bank account to Discover because I don't have a checking. Actually, I was, you know, by the way, homework item for me. But I think we're still ever growing, right? Because like one of my goals for you is to get like a Roth IRA. You don't have one yet. You're not investing, but I am. How did you feel when I told you about my money and my investments?
Well, I was proud of you that you at least invested that much, but like I knew that you had gotten like that lump sum from your house from when we talked about finances. So part of me was kind of like, damn girl, I would have thrown all of it in there. I was also very proud that you did have that money in there, because in my head it was all gone. You know, I just thought it was like, damn, I was like, fuck, she spent $100,000 in like a year, girl. Like,
yeah, I mean, a lot of that money, I did a percentage to my parents, became debt free, and then what I was left with, I think, was like $40,000. And that sounds like I'm saying like a little bit, but that went to, I think I invested some in crypto, took a lot of losses. That's okay. I wanted to take that risk. I didn't invest a lot of it. Like I think I invested like max $10K out of all the money that I had. I think over time it was like $10,000, and I still have some crypto. But the remaining, some of that money went to the cost of living when I moved into my parents' house, of just like navigating that whole thing, because then I literally have no other expenses but my car, but I need to make sure I had clients to pay for all that stuff, because back then I wasn't getting brand deals or anything like that. But you know, a majority of that, did get invested. And it's like, it was crazy how fast that money went though. Like I honestly felt like in a year, the money that I got from my house, like rapidito se fue. And it was like, I mean, I did good by investing it, I think.
yeah, that's what I was getting at, was that I was proud that you had invested that.
Yeah. And now, like, where we're at, what would be something that you think we should work on going forward now that we've been together for over a year?
Saving money.
Yeah.
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 I think we need to get better at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree. We need to rebuild our emergency fund. Travel fund.
Moving took a lot.
Yeah. I fucking hate moving.
Moving is so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also, I would love to see a more bartending really generating revenue in the next year.
It will.
That's what I want. Like so I'll tell you a little bit more about my dreams, our fans, our listeners to Riqueza podcast. So I'm working on a few businesses on the back end. I don't want to share too much detail, but I'm in an idea accelerator program here in Dallas for one of them. It's going to be the big one. Okay. It has a lot to do with the work that I'm in now. But stay tuned for that. I want to make another business within our own space that we have here. Stay tuned for that. But I don't think none of that's going to really bring in revenue until like 2 to 3 years from now. Mm-hmm. So the primary source of income that we're bringing in is from my brand deals and my coaching clients, my workshops, and my events. And then you bring in revenue from bartending, or you bring in income from bartending, events. ¿Qué más?
That's it.
But what are your dreams? Like, what would you want to see?
I want to see Amor take off.
Yeah.
That's my goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm working on right now.
And what would you recommend for like individuals who are, been dating and want to have a money conversation? Like, how would you start that? Like, did you think that the way I started that conversation was good? Like,
yeah, I mean, I definitely think patience is a big one.
Yeah.
I feel like you never know, as much as you think you know a person, you never really know what's going on in their head or how they might feel about certain things. Yeah. You don't know the past. You don't know the traumas that they've been through. You don't know any, like, there's a lot that you may not know about somebody, and I feel like patience is a big thing, which, like I said, I'm grateful that you gave me, because I feel like if you would have pushed me, it wouldn't have gone as well. I remember
I felt like I was pushing you. That's why we're like, talking about your dreams and stuff. I feel like your dreams were not the dreams that we talked about too when we first started. And I remember pushing you to go to school. Do you remember? Mm-hmm. Because that's what your mom wanted for you, not what you wanted.
Yeah, and it took a lot for me to even be honest with myself and be like, I fucking hate this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was okay with me. I didn't mind. I just wanted to make sure you did something for yourself. All I wanted was for you to find something for you. Yeah. Doesn't matter what. And because I know with ADHD, I learned a lot that, you can be impulsive and like literally be a master at everything. And I didn't, like, you're good at so many things. Like, please list all the perfect things that you're good at.
Nails. Just kidding.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I feel like,
you're good at editing. You're good at
saying jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's...
I wouldn't say that.
I don't know, master of none. But, like, I feel like I do editing. I do bartending. I'm a handyman.
You make music.
I make music. I do... Shit, I feel like everything.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, you do.
That's probably the ADHD, though, like I said. Because my whole life, I feel like I used to be good at skateboarding at one time. I played the guitar, played the piano.
You did BMX, no?
Yeah. I raced BMX.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, dude, like, I feel like that's definitely an ADHD thing, though. Like, where you find interest in one thing and you, like, estás ahí pegada
you're good
en eso.
At soccer. She's really good at soccer, too.
And then you lose interest, like, así. Oh, shit. You lose interest pretty fast.
Yeah. I was not that. I was not good at everything. I was good at soccer, but like barely. I was barely good at soccer.
Yeah.
And then I could have gotten better, but I just didn't. I wanted to do school instead, and I didn't want to do work, or I didn't want to do all the hard work and running and and all the esfuerzo in soccer. So I asked you that because now your dreams are so different, and I'm really excited to see where you go. And I thank you for everything that you've done for Riqueza podcast. And I know that having our money conversations has really opened up the doors for more potential for us to grow, because now we're honest with each other. I feel like I used to hold a lot of my anxieties by not sharing my conversations with money because I felt uncomfortable and like, I don't know, I don't think I just wanted to be honest about it. I didn't want to tell you I was struggling. But now I feel like if I really think about it, I don't stress that much about not telling you. Like, if something happens with our finances, I tell you right away.
Right.
And that's, how we lean on each other and support one another. Like, if we're low on money or if we need to make money fast, we need to come up with ideas. Because, like I said, I'm still fucking 25. Yes, I know a lot about money, but doesn't mean I always receive all the money, Like, I'm still fucking learning. I'm turning 26, by the way, so maybe I'll get a little bit smarter. But yeah, I'm still in my 20s, let's say that, and I do like the life that I live, and I push myself to live this life because I want more. And hello, Mia.
Hello.
Welcome to Riqueza podcast. What 2 cents do you have to add?
Oh, shit.
Oh, she's scared. Now back to the conversation. So, what other tips would you give a couple on how to navigate their finances?
Budget. Be honest with each other. I feel like honesty is a big thing. But I feel like it will come naturally, especially if you're very motivated in the relationship. Obviously, like me and you, like we want to both see each other do well and grow. Yeah. And, you know, we want our life to be as top tier as possible.
Because I deserve it. We deserve it.
Absolutely. And I feel like if you love someone and you truly want to be with them, it's motivation enough to do not only what you need to do, but the things you don't like to do, the conversations you don't like to have.
Yeah.
The working on yourself even when you don't want to, revisiting traumas that you don't want to, just because you need to work and be better, do better for yourself and for your partner. And having that person is a lot of motivation. That's what really motivated me.
Yeah.
You know, like without you, I wouldn't be anything, if I'm being honest.
I'll say that.
It's true.
Well, I feel like in a relationship, I've learned to share. I've learned to be honest and be vulnerable with you. Because I felt like for me, I hid a lot of this internally, a lot of the stress about money and like my beliefs about money, how I navigated money was all me, you know. But then sharing it with you, I feel like lifted a lot of stress from my shoulders. And now we had a game plan together. Now we know what we're working towards. Now we know what money moves we have to make, because now we're sharing those details with each other. We know what our incomes are looking like, what our expenses are. We're filing taxes, and now we know all these things. We're supporting each other, because adulting can be fucking hard. Like it's a lot of pasos para tomar en cuenta, and having someone to share that with. But I'm also not forcing her to like make money, or not forcing you to like, you know what I mean? Like do anything. Like I don't require you to make anything, right? Like I think it's something that we require of each other in our own personal goals, what we want to reach and the income we want to reach. The expenses that we have is because we also think about our expenses individually, and like what expenses does she want to have, like her hair, or if I want, you know, my expenses are my brows, you know what I mean? Like my lashes, your lashes, right? These are things that we choose to spend on, right? And so having the conversations of, okay, I need to make X amount of money in order to cover these expenses, because I don't want to put all the burden on you tampoco. You don't have to pay for all my bills. I don't want to be a mantenida, and I don't believe in being a mantenida. And I think that we can do this together, porque I don't ever want someone to hold that financial dependence or hold that. I don't want anyone to feel like I am financially dependent on them and they have that control on me. Financial dependence is a money disorder and can cause a strain in your relationship when you're constantly relying on someone for income, or someone can control you because they have the income. And I think that is where toxicity can come in the relationship, when you depend on your person to pay your bills or pay your nails or do X, Y, and Z, when you don't know what they're struggling with either. And it's not to say that they're bad with money, or maybe they are. It could be that. But
I feel like it's all situational too.
Situational. But I think it's having those conversations and being like, how are you feeling about money? Because I feel like in hetero relationships, everyone just kind of assumes the man is going to cover everything. We don't follow those traditional norms. We don't follow gender norms. I feel like we kind of flow between our masculine and feminine energy and whatever we kind of feel like we're going to be, you know? And so we don't follow the hetero norms of how we navigate money. So, you know, I feel like when I talk to hetero couples and they're like, oh yeah, my man. In my eyes, I'm like, why would you rely on your man to do all of that? Why wouldn't you want to be involved in the conversation? Because another thing that I have seen in the finance industry when I worked in wealth management is that when they're old, like couples are in old age, and the man or the husband passes away, the woman doesn't know what to do with the money. Like there's that type of scenario, or there's other scenario where the woman is the one who controls all the money. The man doesn't know shit, or you know, or maybe he knows, but you know, the woman's in control.
Or the man makes all the money, but the woman controls it.
Yeah. But I think sharing and having those conversations, and whatever boundaries are comfortable for you. I'm not saying what we're doing is perfect either.
Yeah, that's what I was saying is that it's also situational.
Yeah,
you know. Because I feel like there are couples who are perfectly content.
Separate finances. You know, they never talk about money. They just kind of like go 50-50 on everything. Boom, bam, boom. End of the day. I still think they need a money conversation.
Absolutely, yeah.
For example, I never wanted you to feel like you had financial dependence of me, remember?
Yeah.
And so she worked for me. Zanie works for me, right? And so I would pay her a monthly income for her expenses. I would cover a majority of the things, but I still wanted you to feel like you were receiving your own money.
Yeah. And that did make a big difference for me.
And you know who gave me that advice?
Who?
Athena.
Yeah.
She's like, girl, because she's a couples therapist. My friend Athena, she has a podcast. It's called City Shrinks, and she's a couples therapist. And she was like, Leah, the one thing that I'm gonna tell you, if she does not work, she needs an income. Either you pay her a paycheck or something, just like, because all the problems when it comes to couples, when there's someone who's a stay-at-home, anything, money is always a part of the conversation because they don't feel like they're receiving anything because they're constantly doing housework and they're not getting paid for it.
Well, it's not that. It's more like I felt like I didn't have a say in anything. Even though I did, I feel like even back then I could have like spoken to you about anything. I just didn't feel like I could because I didn't make any money. You know, I couldn't talk to you about like, oh, I don't like that plant.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I don't like the color of our couch. Yeah. Or I don't like this. Or like if I went to the store, I could never say anything. Because
shit, pero te compraba de todo, eh?
Well, yeah, of course, but
yeah. But I think we're learning and we're still evolving, and maybe we'll do a check-in here soon. But is there anything that you think I can do better with my finances, or like with us in our conversations on money?
I feel like we're pretty good on our conversations with money.
Oh, my babies.
What do you define as success in our life?
An abundance of love, peace, and financial stability. I think that's what would be my success. That we feel peaceful in our lives. We're not constantly stressing about how we're going to make rent or like any paycheck to paycheck. Like, I want us to feel like we have a plan and we're working towards it, but we're financially stable. We can still find a vacation. We can like go on a vacation every so often and find that peace again and recalibrate and still work. Like, I feel like I'm always going to be working. I don't like my ideal dream. Like, you know, the question I asked you, for me, it'd be like my wildest dream is that I'm fucking changing the world. Like, I want to change the world. I want to change the way la comunidad latina mira el dinero, you know. Quiero que esta generación que viene, quiero ayudarles a crear su riqueza. Quiero ayudar, bridge that wealth gap, you know. And in order to do that, I have to do something impactful. I have to actually be the change. If I don't see it, I gotta be it, you know. And so I see myself being in policy, and obviously working on Wall Street in one way, shape, or form of capacity.
Wall Street?
Yeah, I'm gonna be fucking disrupting the industry. I'm gonna be making them reconsider their values and change the way that they've been doing things, because we all know that what they've been doing is not ethical and it's not sustainable forever. It's only for them. It's not sustainable for us. Like, I want to work in changing the world and bringing impact, not just U.S., okay? I'm not thinking U.S., I'm thinking global. But I think I can do that with you.
Hell yeah.
Well, welcome to Riqueza podcast. Ava, do you have any questions for your mommy? No?
Say it right here. Okay.
Anyhow, thank you for everyone who listened to this episode. I just wanted to say that I hope you get to learn a little bit more about me and my partner Zanie and how we navigate our finances and how we feel about this stuff, and you know, more to come. This is not going to be the only episode with her on. And if you love Zanie, please make sure to let me know, share this podcast, and tag Zanie.
Yeah.
You know, let her know that she was appreciated on this podcast. But share this episode with your prima, your besties, your tias, your tios, quien sea, whoever you think will benefit from this episode. And if you're in a relationship and you haven't had a conversation of money, schedule a money date and start having those conversations. But we're learning, and I think that's what every couple should be doing, is learning how to find that balance in their finances, reach their financial goals, right? I think we both have our own financial goals. We're going to have a goal together too. But thank you for listening to Riqueza podcast. Make sure to follow, subscribe on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Give us a rating, share the love. I really appreciate it. This is produced by Zanie, so please love, share it. I don't know. I wish you could clap. I don't know. You can't do that, but thank you.
Cue the clap. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Zanie, for helping me out. I couldn't do this podcast without you.
My pleasure.
Until next time.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
See you. Bye. Riqueza podcast. Yeah.
The dog como joden.
Woo.